let me tell you about Buddhism. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 227, Tipiṭaka, part 148, in which I will continue reading Mahāvagga II. This is part 4 of Mahāvagga II. Thought I'd say just a brief bit about kind of what we're doing here. You can find a lot of people who've learned what they've learned, and they can put it succinctly in a bite-sized little synopsis for you, whether they be people, whether they be, people on YouTube, whatever it is, little essays, short books, synopses. And after, 4 decades or so of having gotten my knowledge of Buddhism, for instance, from, maybe very valuable, not putting a value judgment on it, just saying that that's kind of what it is. I don't know if people still use Cliff's Notes. I think people are more likely to look at Wikipedia these days, but when I was a young man, we used to talk about Cliff's Notes. He'd say, "Did you read the book?" And he'd say, "No, but I read the Cliff's Notes." So rather than reading Moby Dick or whatever, you'd get the Cliff's Notes, which are just this little thin thing that give you all the key points. And if you can just kind of memorize that, then you should do okay on the test. So there's a lot of Cliff's Notes. There's a lot of people editorializing, a lot of people kind of giving you a spin one way or the other, emphasizing some aspect of whatever subject it is. So what we're doing here is the opposite of that. We're going word by word, line by line, through all of these books. And we're on book 4. And it's episode 227. Actually, it's episode 148 of the Tipiṭaka. This is the Tipiṭaka, this top shelf behind me. And I don't do a whole lot of editorializing. Sometimes you'll see me raise an eyebrow, and sometimes I make some comments here and there about what we're reading. For, whatever it's worth, probably not much, but the real value here is in here. And if you have the means, if you have, some money burning a hole in your pocket, if you just got your inheritance or something and you would like to have the English translation of the Pali Scriptures, then you can always look up the Pali Text Society. See, I got it in early this time, that thing that you just saw or heard. Some people are just hearing this. It said Pali Text Society while that music was playing for you folks. Anyway, and then putting it up on YouTube, sort of ironically, because this is where people go to get the 3 to 5 minutes or less, bite-sized, usually entertainment, but sometimes infotainment, sometimes a little bit of knowledge dropped, sometimes maybe even someone talking about, let me tell you about Buddhism. Let me explain the difference between Theravada and Mahayana. These things are useful. But not what we're doing here. So if you would like to hear me, if you aren't repulsed by my voice and face, and you also want to go line by line through all of the pre-sectarian early Buddhist scripture, this is before Mahayana existed, in theory, before there was even more than one order, these were the teachings. That's the idea. There's some debate about, especially in the third basket, the higher doctrine basket, about exactly which books should be included. But generally speaking, at least when it comes to the discipline basket, pretty much everybody agrees that this is pre-sectarian early Buddhism. So, all right, that's my spiel. And that all being said, if you would like to start at the first page of the first book, you can click here. That's the whole playlist, so you can also go down and see. Sometimes I'll go through a playlist and see the little red line at the bottom of the video thumbnails, meaning, oh, I've already seen this video. And so you can kind of go through. If you saw maybe the first however many, but you don't remember how many, you can see which one doesn't have a red line and start with that one. All right. Picking up right where we left off last time. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks, reproved on account of an offense, a monk who had not given (them) and leave. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, a monk who has not given leave should not be reproved on account of an offense." Maybe this will make more sense when I'm listening to it later. All right, I'll just keep reading. These are a lot of big sort of legalistic words that I don't use in my everyday speech. All right. Whoever should (so) and reprove, there is an offensive wrongdoing. I allow you, monks, having obtained leave by saying, quote within quotes, "Let the Venerable One give me leave. I want to speak to you." Oh, okay. And end quote within quotes. I think this is a little bit like Star Trek, which theoretically is based on some kind of militaristic protocol, I guess. May I speak frankly, sir?
May I speak frankly, sir?
By all means.
So you don't just go into Captain Kirk and say, "Captain, why is your ass so big?" You have to say, "Captain, may I speak frankly, sir?" "Yes, you may." "Why is your," weird example, but I think you get the idea. So, you must ask for leave before reproving. All right, yeah, okay, it makes sense. To reprove him on account of an offense, end quote. Now at that time, well-behaved monks, having obtained the leave of the group of 6 monks, reproved them on account of an offense. The tables have turned. The group of 6 monks took offense. They took umbrage. They threatened them with harm. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you, monks, even if leave is given, to reprove for an offense after you have addressed the individual." End quote. All right. I'll keep reading. Maybe that'll start to make more sense. Now at that time, nope. The group of 6 monks, thinking, quote, "Before well-behaved monks obtain our leave," end quote, in quotes, themselves obtained the pure monk's leave beforehand, but there was no ground, no reason, since they were not offenders. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks," what? All right. "Monks, leave should not be obtained from pure monks when there is no ground, no reason, since they are not offenders. Whoever should (so) and obtain it, there is an offensive wrongdoing. I allow you, monks, to obtain leave after you have assessed the individuals," end quote. All right, so the Captain Kirk example doesn't exactly hold up, but it's close, I think. I think if in a world where every time most times when someone says, may I speak frankly, it's when they want to disagree with or criticize the captain. So, but it's not exactly a military hierarchy. Anyway, I think we've got the idea, and we can move on. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks carried out a (formal) act that was not legally valid in the midst of an order. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, a (formal) act that is not legally valid should not be carried out in the midst of the order. Whoever should (so) carry one out, there is an offensive wrongdoing." Okay, end quote. Even so, they carried out a (formal) act that was not legally valid. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you, monks, to protest when a (formal) act that is not legally valid is being carried out." End quote. Now at that time, well-behaved monks protested when a (formal) act that was not legally valid was being carried out by the group of 6 monks. The group of 6 monks took offense. They took umbrage. They threatened them with harm. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you, monks, merely to express an opinion." End quote. They expressed an opinion to these themselves. The group of 6 monks took offense. They took umbrage. They threatened them with harm. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you, monks, when there are 4 or 5, to protest. When there are 2 or 3, to express an opinion. When there is 1, to determine, quote, 'I do not approve of this.'" End quote. That was quote within quotes, of course. End quote. All right. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks, when the Patimokkha was being recited in the midst of the order, intentionally did not hear. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, a reciter of the Patimokkha should not intentionally not be heard." Double negative. He should be heard, right? Whoever should not hear, there is an offensive wrongdoing. End quote. Now at that time, the Venerable Udayin, we haven't heard from him in a while. What's he gonna do? Came to be reciter of the Patimokkha for an order. I don't know if you've ever been in any kind of order, but this is like reminiscent of, when the biggest troublemaker is the one having to recite the rules. And I fully admit that at one time in my youth, I was the biggest troublemaker, aside from the leader of the order. But anyway, second worst troublemaker. Anyway, where was I? Yes. But his voice was like a crow's. You remember when he was cutting off the heads of crows? No? Well, you didn't start at the beginning, did you? Just kidding. You can do whatever you like. Then it occurred to the Venerable Udayin, quote, "It is laid down by the Lord that a reciter of the Patimokkha should be heard, but my voice is like a crow's. Now, what line of conduct should be followed by me?" End quote. I added that last part. That wasn't a very good crow imitation, I admit. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow, monks, the one who is the reciter of the Patimokkha to exert himself, thinking, quote, within quotes, 'How can I be heard?' End quote, within quotes. There is no offense for one who exerts himself." End quote. Now at that time, Devadatta, oh my God, remember Devadatta? He's the schismer, the schismatic monk. I think he's a cousin of Lord Buddha too, which I don't know if that makes it worse or what. All right, now at that time, Devadatta recited the Patimokkha before an assembly that contained laymen. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, The Patimokkha should not be recited before an assembly that contains laymen. Whoever should, parentheses, so, end parentheses, recite it, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. The rules are for the monks and nuns, not for the laymen. Right? Okay. Yeah, it's maybe not useful for them to hear. You can teach them about the Dharma, but reciting the rules, it's kind of like, why? Why are you doing that? Okay. Where were we? Now at that time, Now at that time, the group of 6 monks, unbidden, recited the Patimokkha in the midst of an order. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, the Patimokkha should not be recited in the midst of an order by one who is not bidden, parentheses, to do so, end parentheses. Whoever, parentheses, such, end parentheses, should recite it, there is an offense of wrongdoing. I allow, monks, that the Patimokkha be in charge of an elder, end quote. Told is the portion for repeating on members of other sects. Okay, that must have been something that I've forgotten about from the beginning of that whole section. Something about, okay. Sometimes they name a section after, like, the first thing they said in that section. So, continuing with the next section, I presume. Then the Lord, having stayed in Rajagaha, which remember is the ancient name of Rajgir in present-day Bihar, India, for as long as he found suiting, set out on tour for Kodanavatu. In due course, walking on tour, he arrived in Kodanavatu. Now at that time, several monks were staying in a certain residence. The monk who was there was the elder. What? The monk who there was the elder. The monk who there was the elder, there it is, was ignorant, inexperienced. He did not know the observance or a parentheses formal end parentheses act for observance or the Patimokkha or the recital of the Patimokkha. Then it occurred to these monks, quote, it is laid down by the Lord that the Patimokkha be in charge of an elder, but this elder of ours is ignorant, inexperienced. He does not know the observance. 3 dots. I must admit, we read a lot before getting to 3 dots. That's nice. If you're a long-time listener, you know, never mind. The 3 dots, sometimes they're more common. Or the recital of the Patimokkha. Now, what line of conduct should be followed by us? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow, monks, the Patimokkha to be discharged by whoever there is an experienced, competent monk, end quote. Now at that time, several ignorant, inexperienced monks were staying in a certain residence on an observance day. These did not know the observance or a parentheses formal end parentheses act for observance or the Patimokkha or the recital of the Patimokkha. These called upon an elder, saying, quote, honored sir, let the elder recite the Patimokkha, end quote. He spoke thus, quote, your reverences, I am not able to do so, end quote. They called upon a second elder, 3 dots. He said the same thing. He also spoke thus, 3 dots. They called upon a third elder, 3 dots. In this way, they called upon, parentheses, all the monks, and parentheses, down to the most newly ordained in the order, saying, quote, let the venerable one recite the Patimokkha, end parentheses, end quote. He also spoke thus, quote, honored sirs, I am not able to do so, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, this is a case, monks, where several ignorant, inexperienced monks are staying in a certain residence. 3 dots, 3 more dots. All right, 6 dots. Well, have it your way. Polytech Society. Yes, quote within quotes, honored sirs, I am not able to do so, end quote within quotes. Monks. One monk should immediately be sent to a neighboring residence by these monks, saying, quote within quotes, do go, your reverence, having mastered the Patimokkha in brief or in full, come back, end quote within quotes, end quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, now by whom should he be sent? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to enjoin a newly ordained monk through a monk who is an elder, end quote. Newly ordained monks, parentheses, although, end parentheses, enjoined by an elder, did not go. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, one who is not ill should not go when enjoined by an elder. Whoever should not go, there is an offensive wrongdoing. End quote. Then the Lord, having stayed at Kodanavatu for as long as he found suiting, returned again to Rajagaha. Now at that time, people asked the monks as they were walking for alms food, quote, which parentheses day and parentheses of the half month is it, honored sirs? End quote. Monks spoke thus, quote, we sirs do not know. End quote. The people, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, these recluses, sons of the Sakyans, do not even know the calculation of the half months. So how can they know anything else that is good? End quote. They told, that's an ad hominem argumentum, logical fallacy there. Random people in 6th century BC, Rajgir. Just putting it out there.
The fallacy of ad hominem. This fallacy attacks the character of individuals who advance a statement, instead of trying to disprove the truth of that statement.
Sorry. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to learn the calculation of the half months. Yeah, okay. End quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, now by whom should the calculation of the half months be learned? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks, one and all, to learn the calculation of the half months. End quote. Now at that time, people asked the monks as they were walking for alms food, quote, how many monks are there, honored sirs? End quote. The monks spoke thus, quote, we sirs do not know, end quote. The people, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, these recluses, sons of the Sakyans, do not even know one another, so how can they know anything else that is good, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to count the monks. End quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, now, how should the monks be counted? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks on an observance day to count by way of groups, or to take, parentheses, a count, end parentheses, by ticket. End quote. Now, at that time, monks, not knowing, quote, today is an observance day, end quote, walked to a distant village for alms food. Not only did these come back while the Patimokkha was being recited, but they came back just after it had been recited. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to announce, quote within quotes, today is an observance day, end quote within quotes, end quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, now by whom should it be announced, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to announce it in good time through a monk who is an elder, end quote. Now at that time a certain elder did not remember in good time. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to announce it even at mealtime." End quote. He did not remember even at mealtime. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to announce it at whatever time he remembers." End quote. Kind of feel for Lord Buddha having to organize all this. Okay. I'll read a little bit more. Now, at that time, the observance hall in a certain residence came to be soiled. Incoming monks looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, "How can these monks not sweep the observance hall?" End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to sweep the observance hall." End quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, "Now by whom should an observance hall be swept?" End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to enjoin a newly ordained monk through a monk who is an elder." End quote. Newly ordained monks, parentheses, although, end parentheses, enjoined by an elder, did not sweep. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, one who is not ill should not sweep when enjoined by an elder. Whoever should not sweep, there is an offense of wrongdoing." End quote. Now at that time, a seat was not prepared in an observance hall. Monks sat on the ground. Their limbs and robes became covered with dust. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to prepare a seat in the observance hall." End quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, "Now by whom should a seat in the observance hall be prepared?" End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to enjoin a newly ordained monk through a monk who is an elder." End quote. Newly ordained monks, parentheses, although, end parentheses, enjoined by an elder, did not prepare a seat. A seat is in parentheses. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, one who is not ill should not prepare, parentheses, a seat, and parentheses, when enjoined by an elder. Whoever should not prepare, parentheses, a seat, and parentheses, there is an offense of wrongdoing." End quote. I don't know about you. I mean, from one perspective, you could say, wow, this is all pretty dull. I'm not getting anything out of this. This is why, okay, that's fine. But from another perspective, having visited many different denominations of temples, I have many memories of seeing monks sweeping and many memories of observance halls with seats already prepared. So it's sort of nice to read about, this is when that was laid down as a rule is, hey, sweep. Get one of the new monks to sweep. And when you're told to sweep, you should sweep. It's a bad thing if you don't do that. And same with preparing seats. Anyway, I'll keep reading. Now at that time, there came to be no light in an observance hall. Monks trod on, parentheses, one another's, end parentheses, bodies and robes in the dark. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to make a light in an observance hall," end quote. You ever notice there's always candles? Anyway, then it occurred to monks, quote, "Now by whom is the light to be made in an observance hall," end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow you monks to enjoin a newly ordained monk through a monk who is an elder," end quote. Newly ordained monks, parentheses, although, end parentheses, enjoined by an elder, did not light a lamp. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Monks, one who is not ill should not light a lamp when enjoined by an elder. Whoever should not light a lamp, there is an offense of wrongdoing," end quote. I just want to show this one little clip.
Your feet tread heavily on the ground. Have you a burden, grasshopper?
It is my thoughts that carry the weight, Master.
Yeah, so hopefully I was able to find that. Not any particular clip, just one of the clips where young Cain is speaking to his teacher while he's lighting candles in the temple. At that time, in a certain, which is meant to be Shaolin Monastery, though of course they didn't actually film that at Shaolin Monastery, but according to the lore of the show, the lore of the show, that's where it was, this show. It was in the 70s. It was, it should have been Bruce Lee, but American television wasn't ready to have Bruce Lee be the star of a network TV show. So it ended up being, what's his name from Kill Bill? Bill, you know. Never mind. David Carradine. There it is. It's an enjoyable show. At that time, in a certain residence, resident monks neither set out drinking water, nor did they set out water for washing. Incoming monks looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, how can these resident monks neither set out drinking water, nor set out water for washing, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, I allow you, monks, to set out drinking water for washing. Then it occurred to monks, end quote. Then it occurred to monks, quote, now by whom should drinking water and water for washing be set out? End quote. Let me guess, by the newly ordained monks, as told by the elder monks, and if they don't do it, it's a wrongdoing unless they're ill? Let's find out. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to enjoin a newly ordained monk through a monk who is an elder, end quote. Newly ordained monks, parentheses, although, end parentheses, enjoined by an elder, did not set out, parentheses, the water, end parentheses. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, one who is not ill should not set out, parentheses, water, end parentheses, when enjoined by an elder. Whoever should not set it out, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. I tend to think that the things that are often repeated are important, and they're repeated partly so that you'll remember them. Kind of whatever it is, any necessary thing that needs to be done should be done by a newly ordained monk as instructed by an elder, and they should do it unless they're ill, and if they don't do it, it's a wrongdoing. Kind of no matter what it is, especially these specific 5 or 7 or 10 things that he's listing out. One of the things that annoys me when the Polytech Society decides to just omit everything and put it in 3 dots is it kind of takes away the effect of having it repeated like that. But for whatever reason, maybe Miss Horner has started to see the error of her ways now that she's translating the 4th book, and is starting to go ahead and write these things out rather than saying, it's the same as in the previous paragraph, but instead of laying out seats, it's laying out drinking water. Anyway, I appreciate the way that this is translated more than some of the earlier books. Okay, well, there it is. And I hope that you enjoyed today's recital. And I hope that you have a wonderful time, whoever, wherever you are, and whatever time it may be. And I will go ahead and do our usual closing here. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.